We are celebrating a new licensed home today. Welcome back. My name is Miss Tamiko, and we're all about daycares. It's a special day. We are interviewing Miss Brenda, California's LA County newest licensed child care provider.
Thank you for having me, Miss Tamiko.
Yay.
Appreciate it.
And she's going to share with us how she did it.
Well,
So, Miss Brenda, so you are licensed this month in January, and how did it go?
I must say the process was a very easy process for myself.
Okay.
It was very helpful. There's a lot of resources out there that were helpful, meaning digital, online,
Okay.
access to a lot of, providers out there that were willing to help, as in yourself.
Okay. And how many kids are you holding right now?
3 children at the moment.
Okay. So we're gonna ask Brenda to share with us all that whole digital experience. But before she gets started with that, let me tell you how I was licensed. So when I got licensed a long time ago, we had to go to an orientation that was supposed to be an hour orientation, but it ended up being 3+ hours. And when we got in there, it was probably maybe 150 to 200 wanting to be providers. There was also vendors in there, from t-shirts to food programs to toys to books, to give us all this information. I also remember being so frustrated because everybody had questions that they wanted to ask, and I felt like my questions did not get answered, so I had to make a lot of phone calls into the analysts to talk to them about step by step, I need help. Also, I remember that the first aid CPR. So in first aid CPR, I had to find where my local first aid CPR, see if it could fit in my schedule. Then I had to go and do 8 hours. And so that was a lot of work also. Then I had to go do the fire extinguisher to know how that works and how you have to get it recharged and have it full every time and how often, right? Somebody had to walk me through that. So tell us about your digital experience with the orientation and then your first aid CPR.
Well, to start off, the orientation for us was way simpler than 200 people in a building. I did it from home.
Okay.
It was about roughly, I want to say, an hour long.
Okay.
There's questions. There's obviously, educational resources behind there guiding you of any questions that you might have.
Okay.
Very helpful. How to start the process if it's a large or a small child care home.
Okay.
CPR was actually, very easy for us. It's you go online, you find the nearest place CPR, that offers around your area where you live.
Okay.
And I booked online, paid online, and I just showed up for my classes. Classes were really lenient. One was in classroom, and the second one was actually from Zoom meeting. Wow. And that's the nutrition that they now offer, which the CPR pediatrics.
Okay. So they did not offer nutrition with us. And I also remember that we had to gather all of my paperwork, all of the regulations and the city requirements, gather all of those, put them in a folder, and then drive them down to the license and turn it in with my name and tape it all up. Oh. So you did not do that.
To turn in your application.
Right. How did you turn in your application?
My application could have been turned in digital, but I'm a little bit old school and I want to make sure things get done the right way because you must do so. So I did drove to the licensing department, which is probably 15 minutes away from home.
Okay.
Super helpful. You walk in, you turn in your paperwork, they go over it, they do a checklist. They ask if you have any questions. Okay. You can ask questions, they'll answer you briefly. Okay. And that was it. They said we'll hear from our analysis within about 3 weeks or 3 to 6 weeks.
Have you had any time to study the new regulations, or you don't even know if it's new regulations or not? But when I went over the list, there's a lot of changes, at least 4 different changes that I noticed on there. And one was, you probably won't believe it, but it was alcohol has to be locked up if it's in the kitchen, because a lot of people keep their alcohol in the kitchen or close to the kitchen. So that needs to also be locked up. And then also medicine is supposed to be in the kitchen. It's supposed to be locked up. Those 2 questions were not on my regulations when I got licensed. So yeah, it was a lot of little things. So so what do you think? A lot of people are talking about it costs so much to start up a daycare, a family daycare home. I don't think so. I think we grow and we make our daycare quality as we go. So the whole part is to get licensed. That's a big step for us. So besides your legal paper, your first aid, your CPR, the city requirements, what do you think your startup costs would be roughly?
I would say $2,000.
$2,000. Okay, yeah. Because some people are online saying that just the initial startup would be with the paperwork and everything. Would be like 13,000 to 15,000, and I believe that they're talking about like if they're trying to do a small corp or S corp or something like that. But just to get started, you can get started. I mean that low with $2,000. So that's a good thing. Hey, you guys, be ready for it. This could happen for you. So how hard do you think it was on a scale of 1 to 10? Like to just get you got your regulations, you got everything ready, and just to get your house done.
I did work at a daycare for about roughly 6 months, so okay. I did get experience, and I do. In order for you to know if this is for you and this is a business that you want to start, my husband advised me. He said, "I think you should go certify yourself and see for yourself and see if you liked childcare."
Okay.
Right. And what better not? My 2 children were actually in daycare. And I asked the daycare provider, if I could come along and be a volunteer for her daycare for roughly 6 months. And believe it or not, I actually loved it. I fell in love with it. I said, this is something that I would really honestly want to experience and, see as of, something to do. So I think it's better for somebody as an experience to go volunteer to places such as, daycares, even centers, if you want to do school volunteering, maybe after school, and see if it's something that you like.
Okay.
And that's how I kick it off, and that's how I started to really.
Yeah, I also worked in several daycares, and I got so much experience, so much hands-on, with the paperwork and all of that made me open up the daycare much easier. So you're licensed for 8 kids.
That is correct.
So you get licensed for 8 kids, and then also if you're in an apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment, you could get licensed for 8. I think a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom apartment, you can hold 8 children. If you wait a whole year, like next year when you go back, you can put in an application and license your home for 14, and they'll come right back out and they'll do a walkthrough, be like your yearly, and then they'll license you for 14. I know that bigger homes, other providers that I network with, that their backyards are bigger and they're licensed for 28 kids. So you never know. You just have to you try and see. But anyway, so we're excited to this part to ask you to share with us your walkthrough on your inspection walkthrough on your big day when you prepared everything in the house till you couldn't do anything else, and then your day is there. Take us to that moment.
Oh, it was a little bit of a nervous day, like I said, I had some, I must say some guidance from yourself, Miss Tamiko.
Yay,
I know you came. I invited over you to come the week before my inspection day.
Okay.
It was my husband and myself that were there the day. We just make sure the guidelines, we read the regulations the day before, just to make sure we were not missing anything, details that they were going to be coming and looking forward to.
Okay.
But I must say it was a very easy experience.
Okay.
My analysis was a very helpful person.
Okay.
He was just there to make sure things were right.
Okay.
And if there was things to get corrected, it was not if you were doing the right or the wrong or the right thing. He was more of like, I could show you how to fix the problem, and if you have any questions, you let me know.
Okay. So, but he didn't find anything wrong. He didn't have to. He didn't have to come back another day or tell you to fix this or anything.
None
you
at
just
all.
passed.
Everything was passed. Yes.
Yes.
It was easy.
So you had your husband help, and you had your family members help you, and then I helped you. That's good. You went in there flying with flying colors. So now, how do you manage your family and the daycare? So now that your daycare is all set up, how are you managing your family life, your husband, your kids, your dog around all this daycare living?
At first, I must say, you're working from home, and it's something that I've never done in working in this industry of working from home. It's still a little bit of troubles here and there to try to fix our schedule when it comes to breakfast, cooking dinner, you still have a family. You still have to do choices, washing. You know, your day goes along. My husband has been very helpful.
Okay.
He does have a full-time job Monday to Friday. My son, my 7-year-old, is in school.
Okay.
So he's basically not home. I must say, I'm home by myself with the children.
Okay.
But it's very easy to balance if you work a schedule out. If you just like you work a schedule out, you know, coordinating a meal for the kids, you do the same with your family as well. Okay. So you have 2 separate calendars of cooking dinner for yourself, cooking dinner for your family, just putting things in place. We have choices by the end of the night. It's a restart button that you click. As soon as I open my doors to this daycare, I'm ready to go and just start taking kids.
Good. Well, very good. So I think that one of the problems that I had is that I didn't want the whole house to be everything daycare. When you come through the front door, I didn't want everything just to be daycare, because there's other people that live here with me, family members. If they have their friends over, you know, we want an area that is no daycare. So that's why we push to the backyard and then further to the back door, so that the living room will look like, you know, you come in, as my husband has his friends over, it's game night, or, you know, we're having our tea, our little girls' night. It's, you know, it's in the living room area. So that's another thing that I love the way your setup is, and that side gate is amazing. Even where her house sits, she's sitting right next to a elementary school, like, you know, where the back fence would be when you pick your kids up. Brenda's house is the next house right there. She's in an awesome area. I keep telling her that over and over. But any problems with your doggy? Because you do have a doggy, right?
My dog sleeps inside.
Okay.
But during the day, he's an outside dog. Correct.
So what did the analysts say about, you know, because I don't know what the changes are right now, but what are they saying about dogs in the home and a daycare?
They just require dogs not to be in the area where kids, anything that is off limits, basically that's where the dog is supposed to be.
Okay, so no dog food left out. Did they say anything about that?
Yes, they did. Everything that is considered a dog, which is, you know, it can be a blanket, a bed, food, like you mentioned, everything just has to be off access, zero access to children.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So let's talk about the pros and cons. So would you do it all over again, or what's bothering you, and what are you loving?
So far, I love it.
Good.
I've been hearing a lot of good feedback from all the providers that I've had, you know, coming along and teaching me along the way. I must say it's good and bad. You know, it's just a matter of learning how to deal with situations. You find the resources. Something comes up and you don't know the answers or the questions to their question. You're more than welcome to reach out to people that you know in your area, maybe care providers. You're more than welcome to call your analysis if it's a question that you might have. There's a parent, unfortunately, you know, we're having issues with, it could be with payments, it could be, you know, anything else. But it's a matter of yourself, your own contract, your own policies. And it's how you proceed moving forward of how your contract is set up. So when you speak to a parent about it, it's like, hey, you know, it's always important to talk to the parents and communicate with them every day, daily, with certain things that might be going on that you might see that come to your attention, that you're like, okay, that might be a red flag. Just, you know, we talked about the contract, we sat down, we went over it.
Yes.
And if you're willing to sit down and go over the contract again, we're more than happy to do that as well.
Yes. And we know that we sit down with them, and sometimes it goes in one ear and out the other ear. But like I said, I would say you create your policy and then just kind of stick to it. Sometimes you could blow up your policy and then put it on the parent board so that they could see it. You know, makes the conversation easier. If they see it, they got to know that you're thinking it, because you keep posting it, all of your, you know, your ideas or whatever's in your policy. So, I mean, sometimes you have to amend your policy as you go along with your experience. Like you said, you experienced something already with certain parents. So you have to amend and make adjustments, and that's you growing. And that's making quality for your child care, right? So, but yeah, every situation is very different. So, so what about a list of improvements for your daycare that you would do? Like, what would be the first thing about your daycare? I know you have it set up and it's beautiful, but what would you change now that you're licensed, that you said, yeah, I want to upscale that, or I want to change that to make that better? What would you work on the outside, or would you work on the inside of your house?
At the moment, I believe that when it's a home childcare, what I'm learning, and it's a little bit, for me to understand, like I mentioned, it's basically the only thing I'll change is maybe have a different refrigerator for the kids' food. I wouldn't want to mingle my personal food with the kids' food, just for safety purposes for the fact of when parents come and tour your home. One of the main things that I've seen, the number one question is, where is the food kept? With the food that you feed the children, where is it kept?
Oh.
And for me as a parent, I will be very gladly and more comfortable if I see something separate that is not, gathered with my own personal food, my, whatever we eat is something that parents maybe might be like, I would prefer to see something more, a nice refrigerator with the kids' snacks, their food.
Okay.
I would say a mini storage, a pantry,
okay.
refrigerator storage. For kids, that's the only thing I would change, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Everything else is working out well. I wouldn't, maybe just upgrade later on,
or we just add quality as we go, toys, add quality care as we go. Invest in your business. Correct. So any future plans for daycare?
Well, obviously I want to go large.
Oh, yay. So 1 year from there we'll be going large. And then when will you start daycare number 2? Would that be a center, or would that be another daycare home? Just thinking out loud.
Well, my daughter is actually, she liked the business. She's currently in college. She did like the business and the idea of working from home and owning your own childcare from home. And she said, Mom, I don't mind, buying a little condo or a house and maybe starting up something like what you're doing.
Oh, great.
She would like to work from home, obviously, too.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
So that's probably something that we have in mind, and it's, to look forward to.
I think I would want to replace my new van and then get it wrapped again with the logo on it. Have you ever thought about that? You could do a smaller one, like
definitely for field trips, of course.
Yeah, you can do that. That's what I thought, to try to level up. But oh my goodness, we are so excited to have Brenda, and we appreciate you and your time coming over here and sharing with us. And for all you providers who are in the middle of getting licensed, we hope that this helped you. If you liked any of the content, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for now.